Preparation. Parts. Open the opener box and make sure it contains all the parts required. Door condition. Check the door assembly for wear and possible damage. Ensure the door is properly balanced by manually lifting the door to waist level. The door should remain in this partially opened position by itself. If not, the springs could be worn or improperly balanced and will need to be fixed before proceeding. An improperly balanced door increases the risk of severe injury or death. Have a qualified service person make repairs to cables, spring assemblies, and other hardware. To avoid damage to the garage door by frequent operation, reinforcement may be necessary. Pay special attention to the top section of the door where the door bracket is located. If necessary, reinforcement brackets should brace both horizontally and vertically, allowing the opener to be mounted in the middle of the door and in line with the top rollers. Distance requirements. The guide rail must be installed at least 6 feet from the floor of the garage. The opener must be installed as close to the middle of the door as possible, in line with the top rollers. To install the opener, the space between the highest travel point of the door and the ceiling must be at least 2 inches. To get your door's highest travel point, run your door upward until the top roller is placed where the track's radius transitions from curved to horizontal track. Clamp the door in place and rest a level on the highest part of the door to mark your measurement. Mechanical installation. Door bracket installation. Manually close the door. Install the door bracket on the middle of the door, aligned with the top rollers of the door. For a garage door other than a Hörmann door, the provided universal door bracket may be used. Check with your door manufacturer for compatibility. Front bracket installation. Install the front mounting bracket 3/4 of an inch to no more than 2 inches above the highest travel point of the door. Guide rail setup. Disengage the trolley and push it 8 inches toward the door open position. You can re-engage the trolley on the belt by pushing the green button. Support the rear of the guide rail with the opening facing down, securing the guide rail and motor. You may connect the punched angle supports directly to the motor or to the rear mounting bracket. The rear mounting bracket will provide greater installation flexibility and quieter performance. Slide the rear mounting bracket onto the guide rail. Secure the rear mounting bracket to the guide rail and a horizontal punched angle using the carriage bolts and hex nuts. The punched angle brackets are not included. The rear mounting bracket should be located between 9¼ inches and a maximum of 12 inches from the end of the guide rail. Attach the motor to the guide rail with the opener mounting bracket and shoulder bolts. Start by loosely inserting the shoulder bolts halfway into the opener chassis. Place the spline shaft of the opener head into the guide rail. Place the opener mounting bracket on the guide rail, slide it under the shoulder bolts and tighten them. Fix the front of the guide rail to the front mounting bracket using the pin and clip. Mount the rear of the guide rail firmly to the garage structure. Make sure the guide rail is perpendicular to the front of the garage and keep equal distance between the horizontal tracks and the guide rail. Fasteners are included, but punched angle brackets and mounting straps are not included. Attaching the curved and straight bars. With the door closed, disconnect the trolley from the toothed belt in the guide rail. Connect the straight bar to the trolley using the pin and clip. Connect the curved bar to the door bracket using the pin and clip. Connect the straight bar and curved bar using the shoulder bolts and hex nuts. Ensure the bar assembly is mounted as shown in Figure 8, with 9 to 12 inches of space between the trolley and the front of the guide rail. The straight bar can be shortened if necessary. Attaching emergency release rope. Attach the emergency release rope. Adjust the emergency release length to be within easy reach, at least 6 feet above the floor, high enough to avoid contact with vehicles and out of reach of children. Check the emergency release to ensure operation requires only moderate force. Installing the fixed stops. Attention! Installing the fixed stops is crucial to the setting of the open and close position of the door. Fixed stops must be installed. Open the door to the fully open position. Loosely install the fixed stops in the guide rail in front and behind the trolley. Slide the rear fixed stop directly behind the trolley and securely tighten the screws. Close the door and slide the forward fixed stop in front of the trolley. Move the trolley by hand to the fully closed position of the door. Slide the fixed stop 1/2 inch away from the trolley and securely tighten the screws. Installing the safety beam. Secure the safety beam to the walls of the garage using the enclosed brackets. The beam lens should be securely installed between 4 and 6 inches from the garage floor. Install the transmitter and receiver with the wire outlet pointed sideways toward the wall of the door. Route the wires up to the guide rail using a staple gun. Make sure the staples leave sufficient space for the wire to prevent wire damage. Route wires away from any line voltage components, wires, and cables that may exist on site. Route the wires along the top of the guide rail to the motor using the included adhesive wire clips. Once the wires are secured, wire the safety beams to the opener. Snap open the plate cover from the opener to access the wiring ports. Strip the wire to 3/4 of an inch and place the white wire halves in the corresponding white terminal. Place the black wires in the black terminal. Snap the wire locks down to secure them in place. Installing the PB3 push button. Route the push button wire using a staple gun, being sure to leave sufficient space for the wire to prevent wire damage. Route the wire away from any line voltage components, wires, and cables that may exist on site. Warning: the push button should be firmly mounted in sight of the door and away from any moving parts. All wall controls are to be mounted out of the reach of children at a minimum of 5 feet high. Connect the wires to the push button and secure it to the wall. Cover the screw holes with the provided hole plugs. Connect and secure the wiring to the wiring ports of the operator. Don't exceed 15-gauge wiring. Mount the faceplate on the opener using the small countersunk Phillips head screw. Warning signage. The enclosed warning signs are to be mounted in an eye-catching location near the wall control. Use a staple gun to fasten the label to surfaces where the adhesive will not stick. Lamp housings. Install the lamp housings, making sure to route the aerial wire outside of the lamp housing at a 90-degree angle. Plug the opener into a properly wired 120-volt AC 60 Hz grounded socket. If the plug doesn't fit into the outlet, contact a qualified electrician to install the proper outlet. 88 illuminates for 1 second on the display. Afterwards, U illuminates continuously. If the opener isn't fully engaged in the socket, the opener light will illuminate for 180 seconds when the opener is switched on. Once the opener is connected to the power supply, check and align the safety beam. When properly aligned, the red LED will turn off and the green LED will remain lit. If the safety beam doesn't reach the receiver, the green LED remains lit and the red LED turns on. Opener learning. Prepare the door for the learning process by engaging the door with the trolley. Do this by pushing the green button on the trolley and then manually lifting the door until the trolley engages with the toothed belt. If done correctly, you should not be able to open the door manually. Press the up arrow button. The door will open and briefly stop in the open end of travel position. L flashes. The door automatically completes 3 open and closed door cycles to learn the required travel and forces required at each position of the door opening sequence. The operator light flashes during these learning runs. The door will stop in the open end of travel position with the operator light continuously illuminated. After the learning runs, a number shows the maximum determined force. If the opener displays a value of 5 or more, you may need to check or readjust the door system. Attention! If the door isn't closing correctly or holding its close limit, check the fixed stops. If the fixed stops are not correctly installed, your opener will not hold its close limit. Setting the reverse limit. Attention! If you don't set the reverse limit, the door won't close. It will flash RA to remind you to set the reverse limit. With the door in the open position, place a rigid 1-inch tall object on the floor in the middle of the door, such as a level or a piece of track. With RA displayed on the screen, begin setting the reverse limits by pressing the down arrow button. RA will flash on the display, and the opener lights will flash during the closing and opening of the door as it adjusts the limits. The door closes and reverses when it touches the object on the floor. The door will stop in the open end of travel position, and the operator light will be continuously illuminated when finished. Warning: test the door opener on a monthly basis. The garage door must reverse on contact with a 1.5-inch high object or a 2x4 board laid flat on the floor. After adjusting either the force or the limit of travel, retest the door opener. Failure to adjust the opener properly may cause severe injury or death. Programming the remote. Always check the function and programming of the hand transmitters from inside the garage. Make sure the antenna is outside and at a 90-degree angle to the opener before programming. Do not cut the antenna. Remove the battery insulation foil from the hand transmitter. Briefly press and release the programming button on the opener once. Press the up and down arrow buttons to get to the menus C1 to C6. These channels have 6 different functions. C1 is impulse operation, open stop, close stop. C2 is the opener light. C3 is partial position for package delivery. C4, travel in the open direction. C5, travel in the closed direction. And C6 is the air position for ventilation. Once you've reached the channel you want to assign to a remote button, for example, C1, press the programming button and the selected radio channel will flash slowly for 25 seconds. As the radio channel flashes on the opener display, press and hold the remote button from which you want to transmit the radio code. The remote LED will illuminate blue for 2 seconds and then go out. After an additional 5 seconds, the LED will alternate flashing in red and blue to confirm the radio code has been transmitted. If the receiver detects a valid radio code, the selected radio channel and the right decimal point will flash quickly on the opener's display. Release the remote button. Your control is now ready to use. Warning: never let children operate or play with door controls. Keep the remote control away from children. Never operate the garage door if there are persons or obstructions in the way of door travel. Always keep the moving door in sight and away from people and objects until it is completely closed. No one should cross the path of the moving door. Never pass under a stopped, partially open door. Your initial installation and setup of the SilentDrive is now complete. Be sure to check the function of all safety devices on a monthly basis. For additional information, visit our website at hermann.us.